Welcome back to the Midday Show. My guest today is a former MTV VJ who hosted TRL from 2003 to 2008. His comedic voice can be heard writing for Family Guy on Fox, which returns Sunday, September 27th. It is my honor to have him here. Please welcome Damien Fahey.
Thanks, Brandon. It's an honor to be on your show.
This is amazing.
Thanks for having me.
Yes, it's an honor to have you. We were talking just a little bit before we started, and I told you TRL was so important to me, and it's funny as I think about it. I'm recording this at home right now just because it's a weekend when we're recording this, so this will air a bit later. But in the studio on campus, one wall is a giant window out looking one of the hallways of the campus, and it's kind of like the TRL windows in the old Times Square studio. So sometimes
awesome.
if I have the right mindset, I'll say I'm on TRL right now. So
if you close your eyes and you believe enough, you actually could be transported to Times Square. You're saying?
Yeah, definitely. And I went to New York like in 2010, and I tried to go to the MTV store, but I think it was shut down by then in November of 2010. And I did try to see the old studio, and that was really cool to see. And TRL was just such an integral part of so many people's lives. And if you, especially in those early days when Carson was hosting, but when you look at it now to when you were hosting, people like, especially in that last year of 2008, people like Miley Cyrus, the Jonas Brothers, Taylor Swift, who are still all around today. And there's still a handful of artists who didn't make it on TRL, but a lot of these people who we see now on the charts today got to make it on TRL. How was that for you, being able to facilitate all of that?
It's pretty wild, especially you mentioned Taylor Swift. She sort of had this crazy meteoric rise. I mean, I never thought that she would be as big as she is. I knew that she would be successful and whatnot. She's with the singer-songwriter thing, and that really resonated with a lot of the audience. But when she stopped by TRL, I remember she was with her mom. It was her and her mom and a couple other people, members of her team. And she was sort of going around like a kid in a candy store around the TRL backstage area with her iPhone, shooting video of the backstage area and just geeking out. And I always thought, oh, this is cool. This is, this is like, this is an artist that's very successful. And I really didn't think that, she would become the massive superstar that she is today. But I will say when she was there, she was very, very super friendly to all the VJs. And she really wanted to, she didn't just stay in her dressing room. She came out, she wanted to hang out, she wanted to, get the lay of the land and see what it was all about. Because, like you, she said it was an important part of her, her teenage years and her growing up. So that was pretty cool. It was really cool to see her. And of course, Miley Cyrus, the same thing. Miley was definitely, I think, probably more well known at the time back in 2008.
Yeah,
than
definitely.
Taylor was. But yeah, she was very sort of the same way. It was fun having people of that age group. Sorry, it's my car. I'm actually driving. That keeps going off that noise. But it's cool. It was cool having younger people on the show because they grew up with the show. They were fans of the show. You have someone like, maybe someone older like a John Travolta who isn't exactly, he didn't grow up with the show. He wasn't a normal everyday viewer of the show. So, they would come in and they'd have fun and whatnot. But it was really cool to have a guest who was, the show was part of their adolescence. I thought that was always very, very cool.
And it's funny because I don't know if you were aware of this, but TRL ended November 16th. You're probably aware of that, 2008, November 16th. Mere days later, I think it was November 22nd, YouTube held their first YouTube Live. It was the only YouTube Live event from San Francisco on the other side of the coast. And I was thinking about that the other day, and just that quick shift, TRL ending, and then YouTube really starting to blossom into what it's become now. And even Carson said at the beginning of that finale, he mentioned Facebook and MySpace and YouTube. And even though MySpace was really popular at the time, Facebook was starting to, even though it was founded in 2004, it was still starting to bloom, and Twitter for that matter. What do you think? Do you think TRL would work today with these social media mediums?
I don't think so. I think it was very much, MTV got very lucky with TRL, and it sort of became an outlet for teenagers to not only consume music, but also to have a sort of like an output too, where they can express themselves through the show, whether that be through, for people listening who aren't really familiar with the show, maybe didn't watch it, we would play a music video, and then during the music video there would be this little box that would come up, and it would usually be a very frenzied, out of their mind teenagers screaming their lungs out, about the Backstreet Boys or something, saying, hey, what's going on? I'm Mike from New Jersey, and I just want to say I love the Backstreet Boys, blah, 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 this yell.
Yeah, exactly.
And that was sort of like, oh, that's really cool. That was sort of a way of expressing themselves, and also being in the studio, next to 3 feet away from your favorite artist was this sort of revolutionary thing that TRL introduced. And I think, we mentioned the window before. That was maybe even the most revolutionary part of TRL, was saying, okay, well, Diddy's going to be at TRL Tuesday at 3:30. I'm going to go down to Times Square, wait outside. I'll at least get to see him through the glass. And if I'm lucky, Carson will invite me up into the studio, and I'll actually be in the same room as my favorite celebrity, maybe even ask him a question.
Yeah.
And you didn't have, you have to keep in mind, you didn't have, now that I'm saying it out loud, it doesn't sound that special given Twitter and Facebook and YouTube. Musicians and actors, they can express themselves, and we know so much more about them personally because of, the medium of Twitter. That didn't exist back then. So there was sort of this mystery of, what do they really like? What do they like when, they're on live television and something goes wrong? How are they going to react? But now, now you can shoot video on your cell phone, and so we have all these videos of celebrities and candid videos that exist that, sort of trump what we were accomplishing on TRL back in the day. So I don't think it would work nowadays, but I do think that, what we have now is kind of a really cool thing. As technology advances and media advances, and I think it's awesome to have a thing like YouTube. I'm on it, all the time. At Family Guy, we're constantly, pitching jokes and pitching ideas. Yesterday we were pitching an idea about, using a clip from a movie to put Peter in, and we said, well, how did that clip start? What exactly does, Macaulay Culkin in Home Alone say to kick off that scene? 20 years ago, or even 15 years ago, you'd have to actually find the DVD and play it and cue it up, but now you just go on YouTube and it's right there. So I'm totally for, everything like YouTube and Twitter and Facebook. I think they're awesome advances, but I do think that it would be very, very difficult to get anything like TRL off the ground anymore.
Yeah. In merging these two worlds, have you ever pitched a TRL concept for Family Guy, or something like a TRL kind of throwback parody?
No, I haven't. That's actually a good idea. I haven't. I'd have to sort of think about how that would work within the context of the show. But I can't believe I haven't thought of anything like that. Maybe I just, when I go there, I try not to be
the TRL guy.
I try not to talk about MTV too much, because I don't want them to think that, that I'm bragging or that I'm being, rude or anything. So if they ask me about it, I'm glad to tell stories. But yeah, usually I kind of keep that under wraps, or at least I did. Yeah, I've been there for 2 years, so I'm a little bit more comfortable with everybody, and I'm a little bit more open with it. That's a good idea. I might steal that and give you no residuals.
No, that's fine. That's fine. I can always say, hey. Hey, we have the recording now, so if something could happen. It's funny because you're from Family Guy. We had Ralph Garman on the last season here.
Oh wow, no kidding. Yeah, Ralph does a ton of voices for Family Guy.
Yeah, he's basically the Hank Azaria of Family Guy.
That's right, exactly.
Yeah. So we're about to go to break. Of course, Family Guy returns in September 27th. And I know you wrote an episode for the season.
I did. I wrote an episode. They gave me my first episode. I've never written for television before, and I got this job at Family Guy, and it sort of blew my mind, and I was very overwhelmed by the whole thing. And
there it goes again.
They threw an episode my way, and a few months in, and it's going to be airing sometime in 2016.
Awesome. So, of course, where can people follow you on Twitter? For now, we're going to go to break. We're going to be back with you a bit, but where can people follow you on Twitter?
At Damien Fahey.
Awesome. And Fahey?
That's it, yep.
Okay. Can you do us the complete honor, in TRL style, throwing us the break? Just say, we'll be right back here on the Midday Show.
We'll be right back on the Midday Show.
Perfect. Welcome back to the Midday Show. I'm here with former TRL host Damien Fahey. Damien, it's an honor to have you here. We're going to do the fun down right now. 7 questions, particularly tailored to the best of my ability for you. We're going to start right now. If TRL was around now, if it was able to last and MTV didn't cancel it, who do you think would be number 1 at this moment?
Oh, that's a good question. I'm going to say my wife is in the car right now, actually, and she actually just sent me an answer, but I totally agree with it. The Weeknd, I think, is... You can't turn on the radio without hearing a Weeknd song on. So I think he would totally be number 1 on the countdown right now.
And it's a great video, too, so I agree with you.
He's awesome. He's so great.
Yeah.
He was awesome on the VMAs.
Oh, what a fantastic performance. Really kind of brought the VMAs back. And it had a little Ricky Martin-esque, because Ricky Martin did a similar thing at the Grammys in 2000.
Yeah, he's just fantastic. He's such an artist with a great voice. He's a great writer. I'm really into that guy.
Yeah, he's great. So you're too hot for TV, I'm a Celebrity moment. Was there, on I'm a Celebrity, because you hosted the second try at that on NBC, the Great British Show, was there like a too hot for TV moment that they couldn't air?
That's a good question. The show really, that was its bread and butter, was too hot for TV moment. So there really wasn't anything. If there was a too hot for TV moment, then they would have captured it and sort of shamelessly put it on the air.
Yeah.
Because that's what people wanted to see. So everything you saw, it was pretty crazy what happened. Down to Spencer Pratt being baptized by Stephen Baldwin.
Yeah.
It was just really crazy. And then sort of the weird relationship between John Sally and Rod Blagojevich's wife.
Yeah.
That's sort of this weird romantic relationship that was blossoming in the jungle. It was pretty strange.
Yeah.
So I would love to give you something super juicy, but yeah, for the most part, I will say that we were in the middle of Costa Rica, and one night I woke up and there was a cockroach bug on my arm.
Wow.
And so I had to leap out of bed because there was some sort of a tropical bug on my arm. And then I don't think I slept for the rest of the night. So yeah, we were kind of out in the middle of the jungle.
Yeah. So your most memorable TRL guest, someone who came on who was just the most memorable for you?
There's so many. There's so many great guests that came through. Tom Cruise was awesome. Will Ferrell is literally the funniest guy in the world. And then backstage, he's the nicest guy. Just completely shy and sort of polite. And he gets in front of the camera, and you can't keep up with him. You just let him go. So she was great. I would also say that Jay-Z was always super nice and would sort of walk around and say hi to people, and he knew people's names who worked backstage at the show. So those are probably my top 3, I would say. And then Green Day were always super fun. They were always great guys when they came in sober.
Yeah. I'm burping for some reason. This is weird. What is this? The 2003 Kids' Choice Awards? Favorite Family Guy joke?
Oh, favorite Family Guy joke? That's really tough. There's so many funny ones.
Keep it clean, by the way. We have to keep it clean.
Yeah, of course. Off the top of my head, it's funny because most of my favorite stuff on the show is clean. It's usually really weird, or it's something that really nails something that you've seen 1,000 times but never really thought about. And I think a good example of that is, I'm not sure if you know this one, but it's the by the way, every salad at a pizzeria. If you look it up on YouTube, it's Family Guy, every salad at a pizzeria cutaway. It's just really, really super funny. They sort of completely nail it.
Okay, I cannot read what I wrote down for question number 5, but what is your favorite depiction of TRL in the media? Because I know Paul Scheer, who's actually going to be on I'm recording him this coming Tuesday, but he'll be on. He was on before you, when it airs. He did Scheer RL.
Yeah, of course.
What is there a favorite kind of depiction of TRL in the media that you got a kick out of?
I liked I thought it was hilarious what Paul did. I don't really have like a favorite depiction. I remember when SNL did their sketch of TRL with Carson Daly. I always thought that was super funny with Jimmy Fallon. I always loved it when people lampooned TRL. So I'm, because it was always good for the show, it was good publicity and whatnot. And at the end of the day, there's nothing to get upset about or angry about, because it was this sort of, we weren't curing cancer or anything. It was just this one show on television that I got to sort of live my dream. So I was very happy to if someone was making fun of it or whatnot, I was totally open and game for that kind of stuff.
Definitely. And what's so cool, because I'm actually kind of a big set design freak. I love set design, and some of those sets on TRL are so iconic. Phineas and Ferb, they did 2 episodes where they did like a music video countdown, because music's very big in their show, and they animated basically kind of an homage to one of the TRL sets. I think it was the one with the kind of the multicolored circles on the gray background, on the gray kind of square panels.
Oh yeah, okay, I remember those.
Yeah. Where right next to the windows, if you look it up on YouTube or Netflix, Phineas and Ferb, their animators recreated that. I'll try and send you a pic of it, but it was super, super cool. And I was like, that's from TRL. So, your favorite TRL moment, just your favorite moment from the show, the first one that pops into your head.
My favorite TRL moment, oh my God, there were so many. I would say, oh boy, it's really hard to pick. And a ton of them just sort of pop into my head at once. I think probably getting to interview Bono from U2 was my greatest TRL moment. I'm such a huge U2 fan, and I'm a very big Bono fan. And I remember it was this sort of junket style, which means they flew us out to LA. It was for the Grammys, and I was presented with the TRL Lifetime Achievement Award backstage in his dressing room, and I think there were about 4 or 5 different camera crews and behind us waiting to do an interview with Bono. And so I did the interview, I gave the award and whatnot, and he was very nice on camera. And then afterwards, he took me aside for 15 minutes, and he made the 4 or 5 other camera crews wait while we just sort of talked about music. We talked about rock music. And it was just this really, awesome gesture that he totally didn't need to do. I was just some guy, television kid, and he took 15 minutes out of his day to talk music with me. So I'll never forget that. That was just totally cool.
Awesome. And finally, your favorite way to have fun, just in general.
My favorite way to have. Oh man, okay. Well, I will say, my wife and I are literally in the car, and we are driving to Palm Springs to sit by a pool and have drinks. And literally that is, I know it sounds kind of boring to anyone in college, because I probably should be upside down, above a keg or something. But
we're a community college station, so there's really none of that happening.
Oh, good. Okay, great. So this might actually align with your viewers or with your listeners' taste. Sit by a pool, have a few drinks, and that's about it. Totally chill out. That's my idea of fun.
So awesome. So we're done with the fun down. Because you're a prolific host, you of course TRL. I'm a Celebrity, and you were one of the candidates to replace Craig Kilborn, if that's correct.
Yes.
And so, if you could pass any advice down to me in my journey to becoming a great host, what would that advice be?
Well, you want to be a television host?
Yeah, if they basically like, I've been saying this because Neil Patrick Harris has a new show. As of airing, it's been done for like 2 weeks as of airing. But if that lasts for 20 seasons, I want to host season 21.
Oh, that's awesome. Well, I would say now is the best time to pursue hosting or really anything in entertainment because you have so much power. The power used to be in the hands of television networks and studios, and now you can make YouTube videos. You can write jokes on Twitter if you want to be a writer. You can, create a blog, a fashion blog if you want to be a fashion blogger. So there's all these different ways of sort of, being discovered that didn't exist, 10 years ago. So I think my advice would be to anyone who wants to get into entertainment is to create your own material, get as much experience behind the camera as you can, no matter what that might be. And I would also say eventually you have to move to LA to get into the entertainment industry. That's sort of, that's like the epicenter of it. So I would say, hone yourself, work on your chops and stuff, and then move out to LA and give it a go.
My thanks to Damien Fahey. Thank you so much for being here. We will see you next time here on the Midday Show.